Hello, everybody. Today we will be. Today we will review. Oh my God, saying it the other way seems like a tongue twister still. So, we will review the anthology series Love, Death, and Robots. And I have it up on my screen behind me just because it is an anthology series. So every episode is different. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend just going to see the show right off the hop because you may not like every episode of the show, and even for me, there were certain episodes that were definitely at the bottom of the totem pole compared to some of the other ones, but hey, that is okay. You're not going to enjoy every episode of a show, even if it isn't like this. But I thought, kind of for this one, I could just go over the fact that it is definitely a show you should watch just because there's going to be an episode for everybody and ones that you like more than other ones. And the animation style is different for every episode. Some of them are similar, but yeah, I guess everybody kind of had their hands in this show for sure. And I do know it is kind of hard because every episode is animated. Only one of them is real with Topher Grace and I can't think of her name right now. Why can't I? She was in one of the Final Destination movies too. Was it Elizabeth Winstead? No, that can't be right, can it? Hold on, let me just check that. Because that's going to bother me now if I don't. It might have been Emily Elizabeth Winstead. I could be wrong, but I just want to check. Because if I don't, I know it's going to bother me. So sorry, I do have a lower table now, so my camera is a little bit lower than before, but we are making do with it. Sorry, Love, Death, and Robots. So it appears that there is going to be another season, and I am just going to go to the one that they are in. Where is it? I've gone right past it. Have I? No. That doesn't make any sense. Come on, where is it? They are way out of order compared to what they are on Netflix on here. Oh yeah, it is Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Okay, I was right. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, so that was the only episode that had any real people that weren't animated in it. I mean, obviously the voices and stuff are real, and a lot of people probably did voices in this show. Probably way too many to even go over. But maybe if I do obviously there is going to be a third volume to this. Not sure when it will come out. Probably sometime next year, because I believe the first... Actually, it might be 2 years, because the first one came out in 2019, and now this one's coming out just near the beginning, or kind of the middle of 2021, I guess now is what we're in, basically. So yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see when the next one comes out, whether it'll be a little faster now that everything's kind of back to normal, slowly but surely we're getting there, or whether it'll be another 2 years. If it is, I mean, there's a lot that obviously goes into this show just to make it happen due to the fact that every episode is different, and every episode is different in length, which is kind of nice because it didn't take too long to get through this a second time around, even with 2 volumes this time to get through. So I was just going to kind of go over some of my episodes, some of the episodes that I enjoyed the most. So when I first started the second volume here, I would say the very first episode actually stuck out to me really, really well, and it's called Automated Customer Service. So it's this older lady and her dog living in this house with this cleaning robot, and then slowly but surely the robot turns on her, and it gets to the point where she ends up having to kill the robot, which I guess is kind of a fear that a lot of people have nowadays. I thought the episode was actually quite comical because it seemed the more she tried to do what the guy on the phone was telling her to do, the angrier the robot got as it went along. So it was actually kind of a very comical episode in that sense. And at one point it was telling her that the robot owned the house, and then at the end the neighbor finally comes over to try to shoot the robot, and gets... I don't know what happened there. Did he get electrocuted? Oh yeah, the robot tases him, tries to tase the old lady. She is able to shoot the robot, and then the guy on the phone says that all the cleaning robots are coming after her now. So yeah, it was a very comical episode. Definitely one that stuck out to me, I would say, the most. Let's see, what's another one here? I guess kind of the same. It was kind of the same theme for the beginning of the first season, or the first volume, and the beginning of the second volume, because even the beginning of the first volume, the episode was just called Three Robots. So it was actually, I guess this one definitely stuck out to me, so I can talk about it too. And then I'll talk about the one right below it after that. So this one is just purely robots are free roaming the world now, so all the humans have died. There was something about cats. Cats became... that one cat could actually talk, and I did recognize the voice, but I can't remember the guy's name that voiced it. Like I said, there's so many voices that you kind of recognize in this show. That is, it's very, but you can't quite put a name to all the voices, obviously, in this show, and there's so many people that you're like, oh, I recognize that voice, but what's the name? But that'd be a huge list to go over, I think. More than likely once you got looking at it, so we won't talk about that, but anyhow. So, yeah, this was a post-apocalyptic episode of just three robots kind of walking around, learning the history of the people, I guess, in a way, and then they run into this cat, and then at the end there's like this army of cat that just surrounds them, and the robots kind of think that they're going to end up being screwed, I guess. So yeah, I guess it was kind of like the same theme in the very first season with robots anyway, but it does make sense because the show is called Love, Death, and Robots, so obviously there is going to be some robots in the show, clearly. And then the second episode in the first volume was called Beyond the Aquila Rift. Now, I might be pronouncing that wrong, but it definitely stuck out to me. So it's about this team of space voyagers who, I would say, I don't know whether it was cryogenic sleep or whether it was more advanced than that. But anyhow, they go to sleep in these pods, and they go through this portal, thinking that it's going to take them, I believe it was back to Earth. Because I don't know how far out they were from Earth, or how far from Earth they were supposed to be in this episode. But anyhow, they end up getting shoved way off course. The captain of the ship thinks he's back in this place with a old girlfriend, or I guess maybe they had some sort of fling in the past anyway. Turns out that's not where he is at all. He's in some sort of alternate looping reality sort of thing, and he is basically being mind controlled by these weird looking creatures. She almost looked like the creature almost looked like some sort of spider when he finally came to near the end. That's just feeding him this reality, and it just keeps constantly looping. And then once she's able to kill him or subdue him again, I guess, he just goes back to the very beginning of it, where he wakes up from his pod, and then, yeah, it's just an infinite loop of that reality, and that would be really horrible, because you'd eventually just starve to death and die, which looked like kind of what he was doing near the end of the episode. But it was a very interesting concept, and that one definitely stuck out to me. Another episode, is that stuck out to me was when the yogurt took over. So we as humans obviously have a very serious greed issue. It seems that yogurt did too, and I guess it kind of learned how to speak to people, and eventually it just takes over far to the point that it actually leaves Earth and goes into space, basically leaving humans defenseless by the end because we're basically dependent on yogurt for rules and regulations and all that sort of thing by the end of the episode. So it was a very comical episode too. And what was the other one that stuck out to me? Oh yes, alternate histories. So this one was different ways that Hitler could possibly die. And so it showed basically into the future, or how he died affected how he died affected the future. So one of them was the Russians creating this gelatin machine and encasing all the other world leaders in gelatin. So they were the first. Vladimir Putin was the first man to make it to the moon in 1988. Another one of them was, I believe we basically wiped ourselves out in this reality after Hitler had killed himself and squids took over. And the first squid to make to the moon was like way in the future, like year 2 million on Earth. So yeah, I'm not even sure anything will make it quite that far, or whether Earth will even be around by then. Who knows? We could be in. Yeah, there could be other galaxies. Who knows? Universes by then. I don't know how we're going to. How this is going to expand over the years, but yeah, I guess it would be very interesting to be around to find out for that long, just to see what kind of happens. Because yeah, the year 2 million. I mean, we're just like guessing at that point, right? I guess that was the two that really stuck out in that episode. But yeah, I would say overall, this series is a 8 out of 10. Because some of the episodes are really good. The animation is always different in each one, but I would say the animation in each episode is good. I wouldn't say I liked every episode. Some of them I feel might have copied some older animations from video games in the past. Like Lucky 13 felt very Halo-ish. If you've ever played the Halo series games, even the ships kind of look like the ships right directly out of Halo, which, I mean, maybe it was supposed to be some sort of like paying homage to that in a way, I guess, maybe, but I'm not really sure. And the very last episode was kind of weird, but I guess it did kind of teach you a lesson about just being true to yourself and who you are, I guess, kind of like. Maybe that was yeah, some of them are a little more serious than others, and some of them are obviously more comical. But yeah, overall the show is good. I give it an 8 out of 10, just because I didn't enjoy the entire series, but there were definitely episodes that stuck out to me, and I would go back and watch the whole thing again. It is worth the watch, because who knows, some of the episodes that I didn't like, obviously other people will like. Some of them did have a very common theme, I would say, of like monsters as opposed to anything else. And I guess there was obviously the love aspect in a couple of the episodes, romance for sure. But other than that, I guess that's pretty much all I can talk about for this show. And I guess I will just wait until the third volume comes out and watch that and do a review of it whenever that might be. We could be waiting 2 years. So if you really do enjoy this show, get ready to wait at least till 2023 for another season, because that could possibly be what happens. But yeah, that's all I can say for this show. I think I've talked probably long enough now, 14 minutes, wow. Yeah, I guess there was a lot to cover just because of all the episodes that I did enjoy that really stuck out to me that I could talk about. But anyhow, as always, like, comment, share, or like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on the show if you have seen it, and if you haven't, I highly recommend going to watch it anyway. Who knows? You may not like it. If you don't have to continue it because, or you can just kind of pick and choose whatever episodes you think you might like. That always works too. But I just watched the whole thing because I wanted to be able to review it as a whole. And yeah, that's it for now. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now. Oh, I gotta hit stop.